Hey everybody, today I'm gonna show you how to take great live music photos. My name's Todd Brown. I'm a photographer and filmmaker based in Bangkok, Thailand. I've been shooting professionally in the region for the past 14 years. One of my favorite things to shoot is live music. It's so energizing, it's so exciting. Being able to stand in the photographer's well, just inches from the musicians, and capture the moment, and capture the crowd, and capture the energy. So I'm really excited to share my top 5 tips on how to shoot better live music photography. Tip number 1, use your prime lens if you have it. It's gonna be low light, and you're gonna wanna make sure to be able to open the aperture as large as you can in order to get as much light as possible. So you're most likely gonna be shooting at apertures of 1.4, 1.8, 2.0, 2.8, 3.5. If you're going up above 4, that's gonna be very difficult to get the shot without very high ISO. So a prime lens will give you a lot more flexibility in the shutter speed you could use, the ISO you can use, and the aperture. Tip number 2, play with the shutter speed. You're gonna wanna be able to have a shutter speed that's fast enough to capture the motion. Sometimes that could be 1/25th, 2/50th. If you're at 60th of a second, you're probably not gonna be able to get the movement in the guitar. You're definitely not gonna be able to get the drum. So you wanna make sure to pay attention to your shutter speed and have it high enough to where it's gonna capture the motion. And so what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to play around with this a little. You're gonna have to see which works best. Alternatively, sometimes it's really cool to have a much slower shutter speed and then you're just capturing all this motion blur. Maybe that's a 30th of a second, maybe that's a 10th of a second. That could look really cool as well. But you probably want to avoid 60th of a second or your average normal shutter speed or even 100th of a second because that might not capture the motion you want and also might not give you the type of motion blur you want. Tip number 3 is expose for the highlights. So what this means that you want to monitor your exposure. You want to expose for the parts where it's super bright. A lot of photographers, when they shoot live music for the first time, they come back and they realize that they have these great shots, but a lot of them are overexposed. A lot of them are way too bright, like on the face, or way too bright on a certain part of the body. That's because by default, the camera is measuring the exposure of the entire frame. You want to tell your camera to measure the exposure of a single area in the frame. This is called spot metering. So you want to experiment with spot metering. So you'll change your camera to how you want it to meter, and you're able to tell it to spot meter. Once you've selected spot metering, what this means is that wherever that spot is, wherever you choose the spot to be, it will expose for that spot. Tip number 4, anticipate the motion. If you've seen the band before and you know what the different artists do in that band, or if it's your son's band or daughter's band or a friend's band and you've seen them before, then make sure you get in the right spot at the right time. If you know there's gonna be a sick guitar solo or a great solo from the singer, then get in that position to where you can capture the shot. And last but not least, tip number 5, engage with the environment. Concerts aren't just about the performers. They're about the environment, they're about the place, they're about the energy, they're about the magic of the spot. So make sure to get everything. You want to tell a story, you want to create a mood. So you want to make sure not just to get shots of the performers, you want to get shots of the whole environment. All right guys, with these tips, you're well on your way to capturing the heartbeat of the music. Look forward to seeing what you create. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to like it and subscribe. Look forward to sharing my next video next week.